It's ups and downs in anything. Keep going, my nigga. It's better days. I damn near had to sacrifice everything. Keep going, my.
It's ups and downs and everything. Your boy Mello, TMG, Rises and Fallers, week 17, segment 17. Depending on how you're consuming our content. Before I get started, please first and foremost, please like, subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Follow us on all socials, that'll be Instagram, Twitter. Also, watch us or listen to us rather audibly on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. But with no further ado, let's get started. The first rise of the week is the boy, it's the Claw. The man's hands so big you might think they're mitts on a baseball diamond. But it's Kawhi. Ice cold. The robot. The cyborg. Leonard. And boy, when it was time to be counted, when it was time to stand up tall, flex your muscles, show up and show out. That's what the boy Kawhi Leonard did. Game 6, Game 7, win or go home. They were 3-2 down. They got the win in Dallas because this series was funky. I mean, the teams were winning at home. It was the teams that were winning were away until Game 7, where the Clippers and Kawhi, they broke that pattern and they got the win at home, Game 7. But he stood tall and he was accounted for as the best player in their team. When PG was a bit wavery, was a bit pandemic-y, he was wavering in Game 7. Kawhi was there. Now, when he actually decided to guard Luka, and instead of getting switched off too easily for a pick and stuff, he was playing as good defense as he could, was making it difficult. Luka making him force up a few panic keys, air balls and that. I mean, Kawhi Leonard, the man, the Claw. But let me go to statistics. He went for 37, 8, 6, 3, and 0.5. So that's 37 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and half a block. That's on 70% shooting from the field, 50% from the free throw line, and 50% from the 3-point line, and 100% from the free throw line. That's in Game 6 and 7s, the big games of the season. Season's on the line. He was clutch. I mean, last season he got run through the mud, and rightfully so, because he wasn't good enough. And a player that I admire greatly, I disappointed him. But the numbers don't stop there. He averaged in this whole entire series 32.1 points of 60% from the field. Only Kareem has done better with those statistics. That is, only Kareem's got more points while being so efficient. So shooting 60% from the field. I think Kareem got 34.6 points. But he's a big man, so you expect him to shoot 60% from the field because all his shots are at the basket. You know what I mean? And this guy's hook was unstoppable. But yeah, Kawhi, he stood tall and he was accounted for. To Kawhi. Next up. So from basketball, we go to our other B brother. That's boxing. The sweet science. You know what? I'm going to give it to Logan Paul, that boy. Say nothing. Say less. Logan Paul. Because he actually survived the fight with Floyd. He didn't get knocked out. I mean, he was never really in serious trouble. Apart from Floyd held him up when he kind of knocked him senselessly or was about to knock him to the ground. But, he held him up and he recovered quickly, to be fair, to his credit. But he did hit Floyd with a couple clean shots. And he could tell his grandkids that, his great-grandkids that, I survived 8 rounds with the best to ever do it. So that's definitely the best of my lifetime. I always say this. The only other person I can entertain being above Floyd all time is Sugar Ray Robinson. But, he did his thing. But most importantly, when all the nuances forgotten, when all the details are forgotten, which happens over time, they get smoothed over. He can say, like I said, I went 8 rounds with the goal. Let that sink in. I'm a novice. I've had no professional fights. I've been boxing maybe 2-3 years here and there. Sparring probably bums. I haven't been tested by elite fighters, and even though I didn't have a 34-pound difference in weight, but advantage in weight, but he did his thing. I gotta give it to him. And the most important thing, he made major dough. He made major bread. I mean, he's reported to have made around $20 million when it's all. That's what he's reported to make when it's all said and done. He apparently it was $250K up front, and he's gonna apparently make up to 10% of the pay-per-view buys, which were a lot of buys because people, they still fall into this nonsense because they want to see Floyd lose so much. But it is what it is. Shout out to Logan, my man. And the final riser is Devin, the bad man Booker. This man, he was called a shot jacker. You know, he scores on a bad team. Can he score on a good team when it matters? That's what people were saying about him. Can he, even our co-host Josh is saying, can he shoot shots off the dribble? I mean, he needs to be set up, this, that. I was like, wow. You're acting like this guy's a spot-up shooter or something. You know, this guy can create his own shot, but, you know, people are really doubting him. But he lit up them Lakers. He lit them boys up. He lit them MFs up. He got them boys the TF out of here. I mean, Sugar. If I know Sugar, shit, he got them out of here. Devin Booker, are you serious? Nah, man, he was unstoppable. Game 5, 6, and 7, he was completely unstoppable. And if you look into the numbers, they tell the same story. 31 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. But the shooting splits is where it all matters. 67% from the field, 52% from free, 94% from the free throw line. That's well above 50, 40, 90. So he's gone up. Instead of 50, he's doing 60. Instead of 50, he's doing 50. Sorry, instead of 40, he's doing 52. And instead of 90, he's doing 94. Man, he's scored A+++. And, you know, he played 45 minutes in the closeout game 7. He done his thing. I mean, and he was the difference between games 5, 6, and 7, with Chris Paul being injured. Devin Booker was the man. D-Book has arrived. You know, like I said before, last week, the league is in good hands. And D-Book is example of that. But, you know. But from D-Book and the Phoenix Suns, we go on to my guy, LeBron and the Lakers. LeBron was a good man. The Lakers were a good team. My brother LeBron, brother AD, and the congregation that is the Los Angeles Lakers, they're out of the playoffs in the first round. And for LeBron, his 14-0 streak of first round playoff progression is over. OVA, over. But, you know, let's get into the details. With AD down, essentially for all of games 4, 5, and 6, it was down to Bron to do what he does usually and step up to the plate and put the load on his shoulders and carry the Lakers who were 40 because they were not getting any shooting from the outside. And he went to the well this time, you know, the wishing well. The well he's gone to how many times? And this is his 18th season. He's gone to that well so many times for the umpteenth time. But this time, he came up empty. He really did. Like, he didn't really have that push. Those games, they were never really in those games. They're always chasing big leads that Phoenix held from the get-go. And he couldn't impose his will. He got some decent numbers, but LeBron always get decent numbers. Like I always say, LeBron at Messi, they're the greatest statistical players of all time. Numbers-wise, they'll fill up the stat sheet. But doesn't necessarily mean they're the greatest player of all time, because I still have Jordan and Pele in their respective sports above them. But they're right up there in the conversation. But the statistics is what they bring. That's what they're the greatest at. They're the GOAT stats. Basically, they're the GOAT of statistics, basically. But in these finals, so in his first round, he had his worst series, especially in terms of impact since Dallas 2011. He averaged 26, 9, 7, 1 and 1. I've talked about the numbers. Field goal, 45%, 3-point, 37%, free throw, 62%. Average 37 minutes. That's the most important stat to me. Because usually when LeBron's in do or die situations, that boy playing 43, 44, 45 minutes. He's playing heavy minutes. The injury had a big part to play with, most likely. But you know that people say, you're on the field, you're healthy. I mean, I don't hear nothing about injury on the field. That's what people want to say. And I do have to, bring that into this situation. And even in game 5, no attempts from the free throw line. LeBron is like one of the greatest attackers of the basket, that Skip always like to say. Skip Bayless always like to say. The greatest attacker of the rim of all time. That's what LeBron is known for. And he got no free throws at all in game 5, which is mind-boggling. But my biggest question for you guys, is LeBron now in terminal decline? Of course, LeBron is a GOAT level player, so even when he declines, he's still going to be arguably one of the best in the game. But he's been injured 2 of the last 3 years. To be fair, this season was a freak season. He had the shortest amount of rest from a final to a new season. And his injury was a freak injury, Hill from, I think, Atlanta, Solomon Hill, dived at his ankle and, it caused a high sprain. But I don't think LeBron's able to maintain this elite level of play. He has to pick his spots. And guys like KD and Cole, especially the way KD play him now, they're coming for the throne. So, watch this space. Will LeBron be able to bounce back? From basketball, we go again to our other B brother, TMG. Basketball, boxing, and football. But we go to football again. this will be a bit controversial to some, but I'm gonna go with my guy Floyd. So this is a hard segment for me. In fact, all three of my followers are my guys. But money-wise, he's good. He's sure. I mean, he's gonna make up to 100 million potentially. 10 million guarantees, 50% of the pay-per-view. But the reason I put him as a follower is because of the optics and what his critics are gonna say to him. Even though Floyd didn't care in his exhibition match, and people like me and you, my knowledgeable viewers out there, you guys know what was going on. But the people that don't like Floyd, they're gonna use this as a stick to beat him with. And people, they forget that the likes of Ali and Sugar Robinson had exhibitions in their own right in the past. But Floyd's found an absolute novice. Even though he's 34 pounds down in weight, he was at 155 pounds. And Logan Paul's 189. But like I said before, this guy's a novice compared to you. You're the greatest of all time. And this guy's a novice compared to you. He's had no professional fights against a real boxer. He had a KSI, but KSI's not a boxer. And apart from the time you held him up, to be fair, which is a bit pantomime you want to carry on the show, you never really had him in trouble. Like, he's never stunned, never really dazed like that. And you would expect Floyd to knock out Logan Paul. You would expect, because Logan Paul's not used to receiving punches that quick of that time. Even though Floyd that's out of weight, or probably a bit overweight for his standards, because 155 pounds, I think, is the heaviest ever came in. Probably rusty, hasn't really trained properly. But even you would expect Floyd to roll out of bed and knock him out. Let's be real. You would expect Floyd to do that. But who knows? Maybe this is the new Floyd when he's not at his peak, when he's not at peak condition. Like, for example, if he doesn't take the preparation seriously, maybe these are the type of performances you may get. Maybe. Who knows? But he didn't really take the preparation seriously for Conor McGregor, and he got him out there. Logan Paul maybe let him off. But optics-wise, these things here, the eyes, is what I'm going to call him a faller. But, finally we go back to my favourite sport, football. And this is another bitter pill for me to swallow. My guy, Trent. TAA. He can't catch a break. He can't catch a break at all. He just about got into the England team by the skin of his teeth, by the hairs on his chin. And he has to miss out sadly to injury. He's been replaced by Ben White. It was a thigh/quad injury. This has caused him to miss this game. And I feel sorry for him, because this was a moment he was supposed to hush his critics and stake his name in the England team firmly again. And my prayers up for him. I mean, I hope he can bounce back from this, because it's been a tumultuous season for him and Liverpool, especially the whole season really. And the thing is, this makes it even worse, because if Reece James, who I think may start, alright, but maybe Kyle Walker does, but if Reece James specifically, if he has a good tournament, boy, there's going to be pressure. P's for pressure on Trent, because Reece James is a complete fullback these days. He can defend, he can attack, he can cross, he's got solid technique. He's quick, he's strong, and there's no real hole in his game. I can't really see a hole in his game. And even though Trent can dominate a game and probably be more impactful on the offensive end, which I always say is more important for fullbacks, but I don't know, man. Reece James is very well balanced, so it's going to be a tough one. It's something for you guys to keep your eye on. But like I said, your boy Mello, TMG, Risers and Fallers, let us know how you feel. And I'm out.